All right. So very soon we will have with me on the platform, or like I will go away of this platform, of course, Angelo Custódio, who's a research-based artist based in Amsterdam. Angelo was trained as a classical singer and is exploring the performative use of the voice. Angelo graduated from Master of Voice at Sandberg Institute, and today is presenting research in collaboration with Tatiana Rosa, who's an audiovisual artist based in Amsterdam. The costume is made by Arthur Guilleminot, and so this research is called QueerAble Instabilities. It's a performative encounter in which other embodiments are transformed into sound through a wireless electro-acoustic interface. So I will leave Angelo to the platform.
The psychological term for fearing the unknown is xenophobia. While its original meaning was much broader, its modern use evolved to mean the fear of the stranger or foreigner. This is a familiar feeling, the one of instability rendered by an encounter, where we are never in control. and especially of ourselves. Embodied intolerance to its unpredictability or uncertainty may be overwhelming. Dry mouth, shallow breathing, tense muscles, faster heart rate. Our body remembers. This kind of anxiety has been internalized, imprinted into the genetic code of ordinary beings, more than human, like us. An ancestral knowledge intentionally subverted by colonialism, reinforced by capitalism and patriarchy that feeds a vicious cycle of distrust. We coexist in an uneasy way as a dynamic community of things, as collaborative life forms. Our skin, for instance, hosts thousands of other life forms, and when we touch, we simultaneously share an encounter. We are assembled in messy bits, embodying materialities beyond flesh and blood, and including countless components, from plastics, metals, ceramics, resins, carbon, electronics. A symbiosis of poly-perspectives, beyond representations of 0 and 1. Animated by an interplay of desiring flows with more parts than our whole, and strangers to ourselves. Listen. Our body remembers. We are encounters in motion. Esquerda, direita, encolhe a barriga, estica o peito. 1, 2, esquerda, direita, encolhe a barriga, estica o peito. 1, 2, esquerda, direita, encolhe a barriga, estica o peito. 1, 2, esquerda, direita, encolhe a barriga, estica o peito. 1, 2, esquerda, direita, encolhe a barriga, estica o peito. 1, 2, esquerda, direita, encolhe a barriga, estica o peito. My grandma used to sing for me. She used to sing 1, 2, left, right. Tuck your tummy in, open up your chest. The voice of discipline would be momentarily embodied by my grandmother's voice when repeating coded patterns of the norm posture, the norm walking, the norm body, in stable binary rhythms and embodied coding passed on by oral technology. The readings of the gaze would monitor and surveil these processes, ensuring that we, self-contain, constrict, constrain, regulate, fix, hold on to. Processing these experiences overheats us at around 37 degrees, and we cannot contain such material agitation. Listen. Glitchy subjectivities emerge in an enriched cacophony of non-hegemonic textural melodies and fluid syncopated rhythms. Feared life forms, unknown, unrepresented, uncategorized, troublesome, to the suggestions of algorithmic consumption agents. A feedback loop, presented as a look over there menu of limited human possibilities. They destabilize the notion of a final stage and its inherent reproducible linearity. Listening to this conflicted process and its instabilities means acknowledging our deeply rooted precariousness as an ontological feature of our world. We are clearly forever imbalanced, forever in process, in motion, forever in decomposition, forever encountering, affected and affecting, forever glitching and emerging. Body changes, voice changes, subjectivity changes. Things, languages, matter, systems, structures, laws, rights change. The only lasting truth. How our body remembers. Listen. Questions?
Not working. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much, Angelo. And yeah, thank you. This was really beautiful. I have a lot of questions.
Oh la la.
And I hope, yeah, we forgot to say it in the beginning. So if you are watching the stream and you have questions, there is a chat and you can ask questions too. And we can take your questions and ask them right now. And otherwise, of course, we can also link you up if you want to know more. But yeah, so I'm super curious about about the whole project and also about the specific technology that you are using in this project. But maybe you can start by saying a little bit how you started this research.
I mean, the personal interest started like very long time. Of course, it's very personal. Of course, it somehow relates to the experiences of instability, bodily instability that I had since a child. And then I had a previous project where I started thinking of this prototype, but unplugged. And so I started developing this research further with Tatiana Rosa, in collaboration with Michele Abalafio, and together they helped me with the research on the technical part. And you wanted to know more about the technology.
Yes, I think it would be really interesting to understand a bit more because I can see that this is making sound, but I can also see that there is something on your chest. So yeah, tell us more.
So we started by amplifying this metal resonator that in contact with different kinds of material produces different resonance with more or less noise, with more or less pitch. And then we tried, so basically I'm interested in the triangulation with the public as a sort of connection to the dangerousness of encountering and the readings of the gaze that are never neutral. So that was my point of interest. And so we tried different approaches. And because we had some conversation before, where I told you that maybe the sensor would not work, and this was our first approach. We were trying to incorporate a sensor that would relate to the proximity of organic bodies, and that would be very interesting for me because it would destabilize the idea of only human body. And of course, process entails failure, as Astrit was talking about. So it did not work out as my own body interferes with it, and we could not stabilize it, which is interesting as I talk about instability. Anyway, so this approach takes this part out of the prototype itself. We have a camera that detects faces. I also told you before that we don't collect any data, we just detect face. And at this moment, we are very in the beginning of the research. We did not have time to continue before, and basically there was a sound that would appear when it would detect a face that you probably heard. And I'm more interested in developing it further into a place where it will have other kind of effects on the textural sonic layer. That's what I want to experiment with later.
Amazing. Well, yeah, it's such an interesting project. I kind of want to grab the camera so we can look at it a bit closer. And I also I can see that your outfit is reflective. So maybe you can also explain a little bit the intention with that. And I don't know if we managed to make it being reflective while you were performing right now. I guess with a flash would be better. So this is the camera, right?
Yes, this is the camera. It's a Wi-Fi camera, and it's sending data to Tatiana Rosa that is behind.
Here you can see the backstage of this show, and
on the left side you have Arthur Guillauminot. He was the responsible for the outfit, and the outfit reflects on flash, so you can't actually see my face except a dark silhouette.
And is it meant that you would want the performance to happen in a dark space then eventually? This is the worst space possible, basically, right?
So everything has its own problems. Like today or yesterday, we were panicking that the camera would not detect faces with masks, and it turns out that it does. So when you ask me this, it means that this camera will not work, but we will not have light. But maybe we can work with infrared. But maybe so maybe I think I will take the time also to understand which kind of possibilities there are, in which kind of contexts, and which kind of readings and meanings arise from all these combinations, and slowly answer these questions.
Yes, and is there? Do you already? Because this is a research that is funded by Mondrian Fund, right?
Yes.
And so, do you have an end result to show at some point? Is it are you at the beginning of your process, at the middle of the process, towards the end of the process?
I'm at the middle of the process in the experimentation phase. So this is just a prototype, and we will develop together with Arthur a more finished interface device. So yeah, we are kind of in the beginning of the middle phase, and I don't expect to have a final presentation before mid of next year.
I mean, anyway,
I have time.
with the current situation, it's a little bit hard to plan anything.
Yes.
Well, I was wondering, do we have any questions from the audience? Very shy. Well, please, if you... Jeanette has a question. What do you want to ask?
body and mind belongs together as well. So on some days you feel stable, on some unstable, and I guess you improvise completely or not. So I'm more interested into, exactly. Or in general, your performances, what do they depend on? How you feel on this day? How does this all relate to what performance it is in the end?
Yeah, I mean, today, let's say that this was not necessarily a finished product of a performance, and that was more of like contextualizing the research and having a small performative moment. I have a lot of improvisation in my work, but there's always structure, so there's structure that allows this freedom for improvisation. But it's interesting that you mentioned, I come from a vocal background and vocal embodiment, and it's interesting that you mention it because they are indeed intertwined, entangled, and they actually inform each other. So like bodily inputs of instability, yes, will inform the mind, and vice versa. So I'm very interested in this kind of dialogue, actually. And, and you can approach vocal embodiment through a more somatic approach, thinking on this way, actually. So yeah, that comes in the content of my practice. Although it goes a bit away of the scope of this particular...
Well, yes, I think maybe we're good, unless you have questions for us too. But thank you so much. We actually have something more to say, apparently. Yes, so there's this book, and it just came out. It's our new book. It's called Coded Bodies, and it's reflecting on our activities of last year in 2019. We invited participants and collaborators from last year's Summer Academy and other activities to participate and contribute, and it relates, of course, to this exhibition that was originally named Bodybuilding Inefficient Tools for Quantified Beings, right? It's a long name. And I can say it without reading the notes. And so, yeah, the book was made in collaboration with Jonas Bohach, who was a participant of the Summer Academy in 2019, and gave a workshop about heartbeat sensor and data visualization. And how it works is that Anja and I designed it by having a little, we should have had one of our installation, but yeah, we had a sensor on our finger monitoring our heartbeat, and while I was reading the text out loud, the program that Jonas wrote was reading my heartbeat and the volume of my voice and taking design decisions according to that data. So if you are interested, please reach out. We can send copies via the post, and we can also, soon there will be a couple copies at Saint-Serif, so you can also take a look there if you are in Amsterdam. I want to thank everyone who made this day possible. That is also actually the funds that give us the opportunity to make this Amsterdam Funds for the Kunst, AFK, and Stimuleringsfonds. So thank you for supporting us. This is the last day of the show. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you, Astrit, who is over there, yeah, here. And thank you to also everyone who made this day great and amazing. Selby, who took care of the live stream and the audio wiring, Tatiana, who collaborated on this performance and research, Arthur for the amazing costume, and Samuel for the makeup. Hello, Samuel. And Julia, I think, for the wig. And also thank you, Anja, and thank you, Philip, for taking photos that you will see soon online. And thank you for joining us today. We're gonna disconnect now, but if you have questions, the chat is still open, and also feel free to reach out to us or to Angelo or to Astrid if you have more questions. Thank you so much.